An uproar arose in Tunisia over what the Secretary-General of the Labour Union Nadine Taboubai revealed that the government pledged to the International Monetary Fund to sell the state-owned housing bank, as well as a public tobacco factory. This came after the Tunisian government reached, a few days ago, an agreement with the IMF at the expert level, regarding a loan of $1.9 billion in exchange for a package of reforms, including reducing food and energy subsidies and restructuring public companies suffering from a deficit. In the context, an informed source stated that the likely amount to be collected from the privatization of the housing bank and the tobacco and waste agency amounts to about 9 billion dinars, $2.77 billion. The Tunisian government operates about 111 public companies and facilities, which are institutions that mostly provide public procurement service for basic food supplies, including grain, medicine and fuel, in addition to land, air and sea transport services. However, most of these institutions are facing financial difficulties, which have caused their debts to rise to 6.5 billion dinars, $2 billion. At the end of last year, compared to 6 billion dinars in 2019, of which a large part of the state's dues. Undermining the social peace. The government's intention to sell the assets of a number of public sector institutions undermines the authorities' attempts to impose social peace with the unions to ensure the passage of economic reforms, following the signing of an agreement on wage increases for government sector employees, last September. The Tunisian authorities' tendency to liquidate the assets of state-owned companies is similar to the Egyptian regime, which, according to reports, is selling state property as part of pledges to the IMF, as a result of which Cairo will obtain a $3 billion loan. In the footsteps of #Sisi, the Tunisian Labour Union says that the government of Qais pledged to the IMF to sell state property, including berths in the port of Raids, as part of negotiations with it to obtain a new loan. Pic.twitter.com/6mfininips, monitoring network, at Rastnsen, November 1, 2022. The Tunisian government's move also means opening a new page in the conflict record with the Tunisian General Labour Union, which derives part of its influence from the strength of its sectoral unions, which include about 111 state-run public institutions, and nearly 1 million members. Labour Union vows to fight back. The Tunisian General Labour Union, through its Secretary-General Nadine Taboubai, announced its intention to confront any attempts to refer government institutions to the private sector, within the framework of the economic reform plan agreed with the International Monetary Fund. Previously, the governor of the Central Bank of Tunisia, Marwan Abbasi, stated that his country will soon start difficult economic reforms that have been postponed for years. Tunisia has been in dire need of international assistance for months, as it grapples with a public finance crisis that has raised fears it could default on its debts and contributed to food and fuel shortages. In turn, the director of the Middle East and Central Asia Department at the IMF, Jihad Azza, stated that the financial cooperation program between the two parties will enter into force next December, as soon as the IMF approves the loan granted to Tunisia. He added that the content of the agreement with Tunisia regarding the extended fund facility loan will be published as soon as the fund's board of directors expresses its approval for publication. He pointed out that the Tunisian government has set up a screening mechanism for government institutions, within the reform plan programmed according to their financial conditions, and taking into account their efficiency and productivity, according to the Tunisian news agency. He pointed out that the fund's programs are characterized by high transparency, similar to the previous programs, and once this program is approved, it will be published along with all periodic reviews, and their details on the official website of the International Monetary Fund. He noted that the program that will enter into force is based on a partnership between Tunisia and the IMF, and contains a set of measures and reforms, which will be implemented in a gradual manner and adapt to the changes facing the Tunisian economy. IMF Tunisia privatizes institutions. Earlier, the director of the International Monetary Fund, Christina Georgieva, stated that Tunisia is working on the privatization of some institutions. She added that the initiative came from the Tunisian side, which expressed its desire to privatize some public institutions. She indicated, in statements to Sky News Channel, that this matter is a well-deserved achievement for the Tunisian government, as she put it. She considered that the structural reforms program will make the Tunisian economy more robust and vibrant, and create more job opportunities, which will make it easier for entrepreneurs to obtain financing and available opportunities. Tunisian redlines. These statements were interpreted by analysts as reflecting the intention of the Tunisian authorities to move at an accelerated pace to break all the red lines set by the Tunisian General Labour Union. These lines concern the sale of government institutions, which the unions consider part of the fortunes of Tunisians.